The only way to master foreshortening is by reducing complex forms to simple ones, and the simpler, the better. Which leads to our next challenge. Mastering forms allows us to invent as well as to observe. The secret is to learn how to draw cylinders, blocks, and spheres that are based on anatomy, then assemble them into complex beasts. But there's a problem with this approach. Drawing with forms can result in stiff creatures. It takes some thought and care to think like this. But it's almost always better to start freely, loosely, quickly, impulsively, gesturally, whether the animal is in motion or just standing still. Don't expect them to look good. They will eventually. But it's unlikely that we'll do our best drawings, or our best work of any kind, unless we do a lot of it, and we're willing to take risks. The point is to train ourselves to go with our impulses before we analyze. Here's a good way to work. Start loosely, and if you need to solve the forms, analyze. Then do your finished drawing. Working in stages allows us to solve one problem at a time, but the ultimate trick is to study proportion, anatomy, and form so thoroughly that we can forget about them, and eventually these slow-motion studies affect even our scribbles. Here's an exercise to master animal anatomy. Draw skeletons as 3D stick figures. Don't worry about details and textures, only about positions and lengths. Begin with loose lines to try to find the proportions and rhythms. Then refine the figures into bones made of sticks thick enough to show as forms. If you do that a few dozen times, you'll be able to invent three-dimensional animal skeletons in any position. We've looked at basic disciplines and learned general principles. Now we get more specific.